to another adventure in Guyanese literature, where we talk about books and the makers of books and the publishing, the knowledge, the gift that's imparted, that is captured and given to us. David, welcome to Oral Tradition. On a previous occasion, we started giving tribute to people who have done enormous made enormous contribution to Guyana in various forms. And today we will look at a few others. Now, I have with me a beautiful, when I tell you beautiful, a beautiful book. Bibliography of books and about Guyanese from 1582 to 2020. It is compiled and edited by Ameena Gafoor with help from Mark Tombridge. David, you know about Ameena more than quite a few people. Let's talk about her contribution to literature.
Well, thank you, Petamber.
Yeah.
Let me put books in a historical context with relation to Guyana in particular. Reverend John Newton, who's famous for writing the hymn Amazing Grace, was once a slave ship captain before he repented and became a clergyman and a hymn writer. But in his in one of his books, he described the slave ship thus. He said, "The slaves lie in 2 rows, one above the other, like books upon a shelf." He said, they were packed so tightly that the shelf could not easily contain one more. Well, he was wrong. We started to write. We then continued the shelf. You see what I mean? Yeah? So that's the context of it. We are a bookish people because we were packed like books upon a shelf in slave ships and indentured ships. Not so much in indentured ships, but certainly in slave ships. So I just love Guyanese books. I just love to help to promote the publication of Guyanese books. And the important thing for me as well is the book must be beautiful to look at.
The cover.
So we're no longer packed like animals, you know. We can produce beauty. And look at this front cover. First of all, the book is hardback. You know, you can rub it. It's tactile, right? If you open it, it has a scent. You know.
Yeah.
You appreciate it as you would appreciate a fine bottle of perfume, right? Or a fine bottle of rum. And the front cover was designed by Ameena Gafoor's son. This is the last book that Ameena Gafoor wrote before she died. Mm-hmm. And her son, Dr. Ray Gafoor, who's a medical doctor, designed the front cover as a contribution to his mother's work. Mm-hmm. And he spent a lot of time getting it designed. And he's made it one Guyana, if you like, right?
Yes.
So the African, Indian, African fabric, Amerindian. It's about books. And books are sacred. So it's a one Guyana book. It's a bibliography of books by and about Guyanese. So I'm really proud to have been associated with this because when she was doing it, she'd contact me and other people for information.
Yes, she did.
And then she fell ill and asked Mark Tombridge to just tidy it up and maybe add things that were omitted. And he did a superb job, Mark Tombridge from the University of, I nearly said the University of Warwick, University of Guyana.
Guyana, right.
But he was my PhD student at the University of Warwick, right? For many years, for 3 or 4 years. So that's how this book came about. And I always marvel at where did Ameena have time? She was a philanthropist, she was an editor, she published the Arts Journal, many issues of the Arts
She
Journal.
was involved.
She
in
was a
lot of
promoter of art exhibitions.
Yeah. Yes, art.
Of course,
That's
and
right,
then
yeah.
she would fund the dialysis center. A remarkable woman of culture, of intellect. She wrote the only book on Roy Heath. The only major study of our Guyanese novelist Roy Heath.
That she did.
So it's absolutely beautiful. I'm really proud to be associated with it. And tomorrow I'm going to her grave. Yes.
Okay. Lovely. I really like it.
I want to show
just
her a
stands
book.
out. Oh, what a lovely
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
What a lovely thing to do. Yeah. Yeah. So I like books.
She
but-
did that. Sorry, Petamber. She did that when there were no computers. She was not computer literate as such, right? You know, you can go in AI now and maybe get some more information. AI, by the way, has many errors. You know, it's new. AI is new, but she, with a certain degree of, an enormous amount of dedication and effort, worked in that book. Right? It's 200 pages of practically every book published on Guyana. And it's not just listing the books. She will put them in a context. Yes?
Yes.
She
Yes.
put them in except 18th century, 19th century.
Chronological, yeah, there's a
But she gave it a context. So she would introduce a section by talking about what was going on in Guyana with regard to education at the time, and so on. Yes? So it's a very special book by a very special scholar.
I remember Clem Sicheran saying he came from a world of no books and become a writer of books.
Well, in the colonial days, obviously, education was basic. We were not here to be educated, we were here to cut the cane. Enslaved Africans, Chinese, the Portuguese, and of course the Indians. And so the only books really that were available to us were religious books, the Bible.
Yeah.
So we learned our language through the Bible. That's why a lot of our poetry is very lyrical. It's almost biblical in its cadence.
Yeah.
Yes? And then we had the Quran, obviously, and we had religious texts, the Hindu religious texts. And I remember going to a village in Berbice many years ago. And I gave my great aunt my first novel. And the novel had a few little bad words in it, not vulgar, but, you know, little risque words, right? And when I went back to the village, the man had obviously borrowed the book from my great aunt and said to me, David, who gave you permission to use these bad words? I said, well, you know, in England, you don't really need permission. He said, but you didn't have to use these bad words. Why did you use these bad words?
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand what he was trying to say until many years later. I realized a book to him is a sacred thing. It's a sacred
Yep.
object. It's divine. And you cannot use a swear word in it, because that defiles the book or the concept of the book that he had, right? So my writing now is shorn, is free of any bad words.
They can go into schools just like that. I also, like to understand not only the writing of books, right, how they come about, the seed, the dream, the vision. I have two books here with me, all right? Dr. Yesu Persaud, Reaching for the Stars, Volume 1 and Volume 2. David, you were involved with the production of these two. Talk a bit about the production, the vision. how it came about. Right? These 2 volumes.
Well, I met Yesu in 1992 and realized after an hour of talking with him, and I'd read a little bit about him, that here was a special man. Not only had he created institutions that are still lasting today, whether it's the Demerara Bank or iPad, that here was a special man. And I said to him, you really ought to write your story. And he said, no, I'm not a writer. I said, no, look, there's a methodology that I will introduce you to, and you will find it much easier than you think. And he said no. Anyway, he succumbed, right? And then he was so busy, I would say to him, I'm coming in 4 months' time, and he would hurry and get some things done, right? And so then when I met him the second time, I said to him, when you were working in a plantation, certainly when your father and your grandfather were working in the plantation, there was a man on a horse, a driver, with a whip, who would come along with the enslaved Africans and whip them if they were slack in their work, right? And the Indians and everybody else, right? So I said, Yesu, I am that driver. Yes? That pen is your cutlass.
Wow.
You better start working on this. So basically, we worked over many years. Every time I come to Guyana, we'd sit and I'd say, what have you done? And we'd read and go over it. And eventually, the first volume was done. My colleague, my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Lynn Macedo, I dispatched her to Guyana, as it were, to finish off the book with Yesu, the final bits, because I knew that Yesu was busy. But if he knew that somebody was leaving her husband, taking 2 weeks off, coming to Guyana, not knowing anybody, not having a television in her room, because, television was not, living in a modest room at the top of DDL, the DDL house in Kingston. And because she's making that effort, Yesu, I probably felt I better speed up this process. He was too modest to want to do a book. But it needed to be done, and look how beautiful they are, right? Again, with this book, you can, sometimes in England I rub my finger along this book. It's beautifully done. And by rubbing my finger, I'm evoking Yesu, the living Yesu, right? It's almost conjuring him, conjuring him forth, right?
Like rubbing
beautiful.
The lamp on the genie. Yep.
Rubbing the lamp and the genie. Isn't that beautiful what you just said, right? Yeah. And there he is.
Inspiration.
Then when he died, he left behind lots of notes, and some notes, but a lot of finished chapters that they just needed editing and maneuvering and shaping. So that was my job to do, myself and Dr. Lynn Macedo, just to give the narrative structure, a little bit more shape and a little bit more structure. It was all theirs, Yesu, right? Those are Yesu's writings, not mine, right? Our job as editors was just to, first of all, harass him, and secondly, to make sure that the book was copy edited, proofread, and published in a beautiful way. Because these are beautiful people, Yesu.
They are.
And Ameena, they need to be, represented by objects that are also beautiful.
Those are great words. Repeat them for me. These are beautiful people. They need to be represented by beautiful things.
Yes, by objects that are artistic almost, yeah.
And they are.
They are. They're lovely to hold, right? Yes.
Thank you so very much, David. I know you're busy, and thank you for taking your time off.
I'm involved in the production of 2 more books by Guyanese writers, and those will be lovely as well, believe me. Right?
Good. Looking forward for that.
They'll be moving. There'll be very moving narratives of growing up in Guyana, barefooted, and then through sacrifice, energy, vision, entrepreneurial flair becoming iconic people in Guyana.
I can't wait to
I
read.
can't wait for the book to come out. Never mind you, right? I'm working in them, and I'm thinking, God, I wish I could have more of this, right?
Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you so very much for doing so much for Guyanese literature.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.